A note from on, not from, I'm sorry. Um, Comedii La Portile Orientului. Um, Comedies at the Gates of the Orient, Andrei Plesu. And especially I will refer to two notes, short stories, if you will, within accounts. One is Meteo, referring to the weather report, if you will, and the funny way it worked for a while here. In order to make it more interesting, the solution was found. A solution was found to talk about anything except for the weather in the weather forecast on TV. And he refers to Janina Corondan, a funny character, a woman with some talents and skills, who used to put on a show in the scene and talk about various things, not the weather though, as well as others who, in a funny way, made even funnier by Andrei Plesu, they talked about wind, so please take a windbreaker, take a coat with you. The sun will be shining on a torrid canicular day. So, in other words, quite often misguiding, not just not informing people on what the weather looks to be like, but outright telling them it's going to be sunny when in fact it's going to be overwhelming. You'll be exposed to heat exhaustion. Anyway, that's really funny, but not as funny as I think the funniest of them all, the Romanians in Japan, wherein he talks about the experience of some friends, a couple of friends, one of them Gabriel Liceanu, and the other experience is that of his own trip there. He says that indeed traveling around the world is different, but Japan seems to be well in itself, more different, if possible, than any other different. And I was laughing, hearing, because I have the disc with the comedies read by the author himself, and in the car I was listening to it and laughing at his expose, at his account, talking about the toilets where you sit and the seat seems to be the chair of an astronaut, of a spaceman, with various buttons which once touched not just produce flushes and waters coming from the toilet and heat and all that, but around the room. Around the room, the windows start to move, other objects in the bathroom, and it seems to be again another world, spaceship. And finally, I laughed at the idea of a sitting where Gabriel Liceanu, and then another man is mentioned, I forgot his name, another intellectual, prominent intellectual otherwise, sat with the guests who are used with sort of a lotus position and being immobile for a long time, but our Europeans or locals used with a different manner, a different culture, different habits, could not resist that. Tried Lorelei, I mentioned again, and then finally had to give up. And to end this, again, the experience with shabu shabu, the Japanese geisha, sort of, who imposed all sorts of conditions, the customs of the place, from the initial dialogue when he came to this place where it's not an international hotel for sure. I forgot what it was. Andrei Plesu wanted to rest a while, even if it wasn't the hour. No. That's Rogojina, a very thin accommodation for the floor was not available. No. And how he had to eat whatever was there, some thin slices of meat, and shabu shabu, I forgot what it was, but he kept mentioning it. Anyway, very funny, wonderful account.